Hey guys, it's Larry Greenberg. What I have for you today is an iPad case made from Vintage Comic Books. I came across Vintage Covers, which is a web store on the website Etsy.com, and there they make cases for a variety of devices, not only the iPad, but also all your e-readers like the Kindle and the Nook, and all the cases are made from vintage comic books. So they use the traditional book binding method to make the cases, and the iPad version of these cases sell for $50. Now you may think that's a lot for an iPad case, but keep in mind these are all handmade, and these are vintage comic books that are between 40 and 50 years old that go into the making of the case. So basically how it works is you go onto the website and you email the owner with your requested comic book. For me, I chose the Green Lantern, and what happens is you'll get an email back with some pictures of the actual comic books that he has featuring the character that you want. You select one, and then he goes and makes your comic book. So I got 3 or 4 different Green Lantern choices. This is the one I went with. Let me show you the inside of the case first. Here's the cover. Before I open it up, you can see that's the cover of the actual comic book. The inside features a page out of the actual comic book, and he puts a coating over the pages to protect them. Remember, these are 40 and 50 years old. You know, chances are they're going to deteriorate a little bit, but he puts some kind of wash over them so that they hopefully will last, you know, longer than the lifespan of your iPad. And he has these elastic straps in here to hold the iPad in place. It's not the most secure fit, but it doesn't feel like the iPad's going to fall out. Once it's in there, you know, I can move it around and shake it, and it doesn't really go anywhere. You just have to make sure you get all the straps lined up. Let me close it first. Have this elastic strap that snaps over to the back and keeps the iPad in the closed position. See on the back, he places an advertisement from the inside cover of the comic book as well. As far as getting to all your ports and buttons go when you have this, you know, cover closed, the 30-pin dock connector, it's pretty recessed, but I was still able to access it with my cable when I wanted to charge and sync in the case. You can see the speakers fully exposed, everything comes through there. Like many of the iPad cases that use these straps, some of the buttons get covered. In this case, the orientation lock, but you know, as long as you slide it out of the way, you can get to it just fine. You can see the volume rocker is completely open there. On the top, there's the same thing. The headset jack gets covered by the strap, but all you have to do is kind of slide it out of the way to access it. And the sleep awake button, you can actually press it right through the strap. You know, it fires every time. It still gives you good feedback. So this strap right here not only serves to keep the front cover in the closed position when you're not using your iPad, but it also allows you to use the case as a stand. And I'll show you that. You just flip the iPad cover around and then snap it back onto the snap. Let me do that. And then once you have it lined up, you're now in a stand position where you can, you know, watch videos or type or do whatever you want. You know, keeps the iPad in a nice upright position. So that is a brief look at my vintage comic book iPad case. I think it looks awesome. Again, if you're into, you know, old comic books, if you were a collector like I was when you were a child or you still are today, this might be something you want to check out. I especially like that, you know, he uses the old book binding method to make the case, kind of just goes in, you know, line with the vintage comic book look. Each of these cases sells for $50, which is, you know, a lot for an iPad case, but have to keep in mind, everyone is handmade. You're getting an, you know, an antique comic book that's 40 to 50 years old, and again, a case made using traditional book binding methods. So in the long run, I think it's, you know, worth the $50 price tag. I will put a link in the video description for the Etsy store where you can check this out. If you have any questions about this case or anything else, feel free to drop me a line. Otherwise, you have a great day.